Hi, and thanks for joining me to take a look at our prototype of VerbMastery.com. First of all, why was VerbMastery created? If students, our goal is that, if students can master verbs at home, teachers can have more time for communication practice in class. VerbMastery.com is not a course, but it's a supplement for teachers and for anybody who wants to learn verbs. They can learn the verbs at home and then spend their valuable time practicing in Spanish. So who are we? First of all, introduce myself. I'm Dave Clark. I was the director of the U.S. Institute of Languages for 18 years, and I have a master's degree in language pedagogy. That's a picture of me with a brain. I took a brain science class called Language in the Brain. And this is Joe Billman, my partner. Joe is a software engineer. It's 15 years, over 15 years of developing educational software. So what is verbmastery.com? So it first teaches students 74 of the most common verbs in Spanish, infinitives. Eventually, it will include other languages, but starting out first with Spanish. We'll cover every major Spanish tense. That will be by January 2024. It uses the science of learning to make conjugation stick. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes. Uses quizzes and cognitive learning games for learning and engagement. It does not teach how to conjugate. That's what we hope that teachers will do that in their classrooms. They can teach conjugation, how the conjugation works, and so forth. But it does practice the conjugations so that students can gain automaticity. A lot of times textbooks don't have enough practice, and it's hard to practice enough in class for students to really become automatic in verb conjugation. That's why we have verbmastery.com to really gain that automaticity there, to make it so the verb conjugation is automatic. And students can learn on mobile, laptop, or a desktop computer. So how does it work? So there are 2 to 3 minute quizzes and games. And as I mentioned just a minute ago, there's enough practice for mastery and automaticity. So here's what the games look like. We'll go and demo those in a few minutes here. And here also is what the quizzes look like. So they're fill in the blank, and students go and get to practice that. So there is science of learning, which is embedded into the course. And I'll kind of show you the benefits of science of learning as we move forward. So these are basically strategies that have proven to improve scores by 2-letter grades. You can see a bunch of books cited at the end if you're interested in learning more. It's pretty interesting stuff. So for example, 2-letter grades would be from a C to an A. So again, it would be like on verb conjugation specifically. So one of the great books that you'll see at the end is called Powerful Teaching. It's by Pugar Agarwal and Patrice Bain. Pretty amazing book, highly recommended. So with the science of learning, there is, as you can see here, there's immediate error feedback. So as the game's being played, here's the word I buy right there. And then if they get the word wrong, if they say, for example, caminas, then the correct answer would come up immediately right here. And it would say compro. So at the end of the first round, there's a corrective feedback list or they can study. And again, this is we call this corrective feedback. You see a list of what you missed. You all carry your wear, llevan, and so forth. And then you can continue on to a bonus round here. So with the science of learning, it's important to provide what we call a desirable difficulty. This is from Krashen's I+1. He's a language learning theorist and practitioner. And also How We Learn by Dehaney. And so we learn that with greater cognitive challenges that are strategically planned, it forms a loop between right here, the prefrontal cortex, or working memory, and the hippocampus, or long-term memory. And it helps the knowledge to become permanent. This is called a desirable difficulty. Let me show you now how that desirable difficulty works. So, first of all, as I mentioned, there are 3-minute learning activities. We put these into what we call levels. Um, they are low stakes, meaning um, the students aren't nervous about their scores. The teachers are going to see them immediately, and um, because students can repeat each one as much as they want. So they can, the more that a student repeats it, the more practice they're going to get, and the higher the automaticity comes, making those verbs or verb conjugation automatic. So let's look and see how each one gets a little bit harder. So level 1, there's a simple conjugation practice, and it's done in a multiple choice form. Level 2 becomes a little bit harder. It's the same simple conjugation practice, but this time it's fill in the blank. So the student has to type in the answer. Level 3 is conjugation now, not just simple conjugation, but it's included in a sentence. So it's in context, it's multiple choice. Level 4, the same thing, conjugation in a sentence, but now it's fill in the blank. So the student has to remember and fill that in. Then we have 3 science of learning concepts that we'll talk about a little bit more in just a minute. Level 5 has spaced repetition with multiple choice. Level 6 has interleaving with multiple choice. And level 7 has interleaving with fill in the blank. So let's take a look at what those are, those science of learning terms here. So the first one is called spaced repetition. And this isn't just necessarily reviewing or recycling, but it's done in a very strategic way to bring concepts back up through the course of a semester or even a year or two. And in many of the studies that have been performed for spaced repetition, they have proven to increase students' scores by around 17%. So what that is so lesson 1 may be where a student learned AR present tense verbs. Right there. Then lesson 2 would be a new topic, like maybe ER and IR present tense verbs. But after lesson 2, we get spaced repetition, and we get a 3-minute game that comes up, and they get to practice AR present tense verbs again. So then that same one, so lesson 1 is, we're going to show how lesson 1 is repeated throughout, and this continues the same cycle through all the rest of the lessons. So in lesson 2, there's spaced repetition. It's brought up again, the AR present tense verbs. Then in lesson 4, so notice we're doubling. So we went from 1 to 2, and then from lesson 2 to lesson 4. And they get, again, the same thing. They are present tense verbs in a 3-minute game. Then we go to lesson 8. It's repeated again. Lesson 16 is repeated again. Lesson 32, 64, and so forth. So this is very strategic to help remember things, instead of just some textbooks is like you learn present tense and then you're kind of mostly done with present tense. But this kind of continues to rework it through the future, so that kids are remembering all the different tenses they learn, and they don't just go on to something else and then forget the tense that they just learned. So that is spaced repetition. The next one is called interleaving. So interleaving has proven to improve scores by 16 to 32%. See, with interleaving, all of this is the same with the spaced repetition, but now we add an additional 3-minute game here. And it interleaves, or it combines. Another word for interleaving is mixing. So it mixes all the past lessons. So at some point there might be 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 or 200 items, but it will randomly pull 12 items out, or 12 to 15 or 20, that it will interleave, and it makes it so students have to practice the current concept and other concepts, and your brain has to jump back and forth like in real life to all the different contexts, and it has to like think about it. It takes definitely some brain work there. It's a good desirable difficulty, but it helps the Spanish and the conjugations to stick in their brain. And you can see interleaving is actually done every single lesson. All the previous content is interleaved back in. So that's interleaving. Next, students can earn a certificate after mastering each tense with 80% or higher as their score. They get a downloadable certificate. They can submit it to teachers or just keep it for themselves or whatever. So there are 19 total certificates that will be available according to all the different tenses that are taught on verbmastery.com for Spanish. Some of the additional benefits of verbmastery.com are that teachers will be able to log in and see a gradebook. Also, teachers can link lessons in Canvas or Blackboard. They can put a link right to the direct spot of where students need to go to practice the verbs of that day. Students can send teachers can send students through the whole course in order, or they can choose specifically what they want students to learn. You could go there, learn, preterites, irregulars, or preterite versus imperfect, or whatever. Okay, now in a few minutes, I'll ask you to share your feedback. But before you do that, I'm going to show you. Go to the website. We're going to do we're going to do a game, so you get to practice and then move forward. So I'd love your feedback after. What did you like? What would you improve? You may want to pause here and just write down some of these things and share them back with us so that we can improve it, and we can improve it for you to make this a great, useful tool for you in the future. The next question will be, once the site is complete, would you share it with others? Why or why not? And if not, if you could wave a magic wand to change something, what would that be to change it so that you would be, interested in sharing it with others? And how would you suggest that we monetize it? In other words, we'd love to do this all for free, but we do need to make a little bit of money. So how would you suggest, like putting ads for students, a little subscription for teachers, like a $5 subscription, a $9 subscription per month or something for teachers, or, charge the students, or, what kinds of ideas do you have how we should monetize it for the best results? So please share those. Here's also a bibliography of the different books and theories that were used in the design of this website. Now let's jump in and we'll take a look at the website. So we have verbmastery.com. We click on Start Learning. And you can see all of the different we call these mini courses. There's, pronouns, Spanish pronouns, infinitive, present tense, reflexive, Sarah versus a star, present tense, going down, just, all of the major courses. And again, students can earn a certificate for each of these, 19 different courses. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Present tense in Spanish. Again, this is a prototype. So as we look at it, you can see there's still a little bit of Latin in here and so forth. It is a prototype. So let's go take a look. We'll go to actually present perfect. Actually, let's go to just the present tense here. There we go. Okay, so we go to Spanish present tense and go down to here, and we can learn, for example, present tense AR verbs. Again, students can go into here. There can be a link that goes to any of these sections. You just put the link right here, or for whatever the URL is right here. So for example, level 1, the first game right here. If you want to send somebody right to here, you just copy this and you put that in Canvas or whatever, and it sends students right to this game. Now, again, keep in mind, this is a prototype. There may be, we're still working on it, getting your feedback. Could be some errors, could even be some typos here and there, but we're going to take a look and again, get your feedback on it. So we're going to take a look, start the game here. And let's go in the game, play. Necesitan, so
Necesitan.
Okay, we need. Now, what this is doing, we have
Necesitamos.
13 different verbs. And of those 13 different verbs, it has every single conjugation. So like 100 plus different conjugations, and it pulls about 20 of them that students can practice. So if you miss one, it says it, and it brings it up to the middle. So you realize, okay, so let's try another one where I miss.
Llama.
Again, if I miss it, it brings up the right one and puts it right in here. Let's go ahead and just play here for a minute.
Toman. Desea.
You can see there's a little timer, so this promotes automaticity.
Hablo.
And each time a student does it, they practice, and they get a little bit better because they are learning from the words they get right or wrong. So again,
Camina.
you miss one, it shows it, and it says the audio. Juana, you call it llamas.
Llamas.
Notice if we have a Juana, then it's tú, and if it's a title like señora or doctor or whatever, doctor, then it's usted. Okay, let's go ahead.
Llegan.
I'll go a little faster through some of the rest of these now. First.
Conversan. Deseamos. Compran. Caminamos. Escucho.
Remember, these can be done also on a mobile phone.
Llegan. Necesitan. Conversa. Desean. Tomamos.
Okay, so now I finished the first round. All the words I missed, it brings up here on my study list. So you all buy, compran, and so forth. And when the study list goes in there, and then after you're done with the study list, you hit the bonus round, and you get to try again with just those 4 that you missed and see how you can improve. So again, this has the science of learning with error feedback and the corrective feedback. Now, if we go back to the course here, we can also then look at just very briefly, a quiz here. It's like I already started the quiz here. So, Señora Garcia, you call. Señora Garcia, usted. You would type in llama, and then it tells you if you get that right or wrong. It's right, turns green. So then you can see. All right, now this gives your students a great opportunity again at home to practice. When students get to class, then you can practice if you want, just in Spanish, because they will have learned the meanings of words and so forth. So you could, practice with them and have that opportunity. So again, I would love your feedback. Thank you for joining me. And again, just remember to share. Just shoot back a quick email. What did you like? What would you improve? Once the site is complete, would you share it with others? Why or why not? And how would you suggest that we monetize it? Ads and so forth. So thank you so much for joining me. I sure appreciate that, and have a great day. And your comments will really help to improve this for yourself and for other Spanish teachers. So thanks a lot. Muchas gracias. Okay. Oh, and thank you for joining me.